Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the scariest being in the world is not a demon, but an angel who got tired of being good with who doesn't deserve it? If this question has moved something inside, it is no coincidence that you are here now. There's something in this message you needed to hear, and maybe it's your awakening. Before you dive into this content that will turn your mental key, leave the like now, because this video will talk directly to your soul. And if you feel that it describes you in each word, comment on number 22 below, because who is how you will understand this code on time. If you are not already inscribed, you subscribe now, because here the truth has no filter, and you will recognize yourself in each video. Oh, and activates the bell not to miss any episode of this journey that will reveal everything that others have tried to hide from you. Let's go together, because this video will show you why you were never weak. You were just being strong as quietly as possible. They expected sweetness, they expected calm smiles, gentle gestures, words that comfort and never confront. The world idealizes those who have pure soul as beings unable to impose limits, as almost ethereal figures that accept everything in the name of love. But what no one predicted is that behind this softness hides something that few can withstand, a silent, unshakable force that, when awakened, is scarier than any demon. And when this force decides to manifest itself, there is no screams, there is no violence, just a presence that turns the air into ice and every word into a sentence that no one can ignore. Being an angel on earth does not mean being submissive. It means choosing every day to stay kind even in the face of pain, to stay calm even in the face of chaos. But there is a limit, an invisible border where kindness ends and justice begins. And when this point is achieved, when the angel's eyes become firm and unshakable, there is no fury in the world that compares to the tranquility of its truth. Those who confused compassion with weakness soon discover that they were not before someone fragile, but of a force that never had to scream to be heard. It is at this moment, when the veil falls, that the world realizes that the most dangerous is not the wrath of a man, but the awakening of consciousness of a being who always saw everything, but chose silence. The storm that forms does not physically destroy. It reveals. It illuminates. It makes everything that has been hidden to become visible. And that's where many tremble, not for what the angel can do, but from what he already knows and is about to show. Truth, when he dictates with serenity by his love deeply, has the power to disarm integer armies. In a world moved by appearances where many build their images with the care of a sculptor, there is a rare and silent ability to see the essence behind the facades. The so-called angels of the earth do not need someone to reveal themselves. They already know, not out of words, not by actions, but for the vibration of being, for the dissonance between what is said and what you feel. Its intuition is not just sharp, it is a cosmic radar that captures even the smallest fragments of falsehood. Those who hide behind rehearsed smiles and well-mounted speeches discover too late, who are facing eyes that have already seen what is beyond. There are no direct confrontations. There are no accusations. What is there is presence, a bothering presence, which makes manipulators feel naked, vulnerable, out of control. The frightening thing is that this look does not seek to hurt, does not want to punish. He just reveals. It reveals what the other tried to hide so much, and does so effortlessly, without judgment, only with the force of truth. It is this clarity that destabilizes, for the masks that work throughout a life simply become useless before a soul that sees without filters. Those who live in the lie feel threatened not because they are being attacked, but because they were seen. And being seen completely, especially in the parts we want to hide, is one of the most terrifying experiences for those who built their identity about illusions. The intuition of an angel is like a mirror that no one has asked, but which shows exactly what needs to be seen. There is no escape, no distraction, just the discomfort of knowing that everything was perceived, even before it was said. They come in smiling, insurance that they will get what they want. They are used to dealing with people who give in, who retreat in the face of pressure. But there is something they do not know. The kindness they receive is not vulnerability, it is choice. A choice that comes from such a profound place of strength that you don't have to impose itself to be respected. What seems soft is, in fact, the manifestation of a soul that knows its value and has decided not to play the same dirty games that others play. And that, it's scary. For those who live manipulating, find someone who does not react, who is not annoyed, who only keeps his calm and firm look, is disconcerting. They hope to control, but they see themselves disoriented, because this kind of person does not give in for fear, does not shake up for emotional blackmail, and does not undergo power dynamics. They do not scream, do not victimize themselves, and still impose respect only with their posture. This is not common. This is not easy to deal with. And it is precisely what most unbalances those who live in the constant attempt to control the surrounding environment. Kindness with limits, love with discernment. This is the formula that confuses manipulators. They are not dealing with someone who does not know how to defend themselves. They are before someone who has suffered, has learned, and chose to be better, not for lack of option, but out of conscience. And in view of this, their tactics become useless. The game ends before it even starts. Because when there is no reactivity, there is no control. And without control, manipulators realize that they are not facing a victim. They are facing a silent fortress. Most people interpret kindness as permission. They think someone kind will always be available, always accessible, always willing to sacrifice for others. And for a while, this perception may even seem real. But what many ignore is that behind all compassionate heart, there is a wall made of experiences, surpassed pain, and non-negotiable values. The pure spirit may be generous, but it is not fragile. He loves, but knows how to say no. And this no is said with so much peace that it becomes more powerful than any scream of anger. These limits are not designed with violence. They are built firmly and constancy. It is not about creating distance out of pride, but of preserving the integrity of the soul. Those who test these borders quickly find out that they are not dealing with someone who is intimidated easy. They are surprised by an unexpected answer, a calm negative, a strategic absence, a silent withdrawal. And that hurts more than any direct confrontation, because it reveals something they didn't want to admit, that they lost access. What makes these barriers so unbreakable is their origin. They are not born of the ego, but of consciousness. And all that is born of consciousness is solid, lasting, and insurmountable. Those who try to exceed them discover that they are facing a non-curved force, does not beg and do not negotiate their values. The message is clear. Love is immense, but not naive. The soul is light, but not foolish. And the sacred space of the spirit is not open to those who do not know how to respect. We live in an age when everyone speaks, shouts, defends itself, tries to justify. But there is a kind of presence that does not need to lift the voice to be heard. A kind of force that manifests itself in silence, stillness, the lack of need to prove anything. When someone who carries this peace enters an environment, everyone realizes it is not by appearance, it is not by arrogant attitude, it is for what you do not see, but you feel. It is the type of energy that silences the room without having to say a word. This silence is not omission, it is maturity. It is the conscious choice of not getting in useless battles, not spending energy with those who have decided not to understand. It's a way of saying, I know who I am, and that's enough. For those who live on conflict, this type of posture is unbearable, because there is no visible weakness, there is no emotional breach, and without reaction, there is no control. Silence then becomes the greatest threat, a serene but definitive threat. Some confuse this behavior with indifference, but they are wrong. It is the opposite. It is the purest form of emotional authority. Those who live in this state have already been injured, have already been provoked, and chose not to stoop to the level of the provocation, because it understands that true power is not to be shaken. And when someone does not shake, it becomes unattainable. Silence then screams louder than any discussion, shouts dignity, shouts wisdom, shouts inner strength. There is something deeply disconcerting to being before someone whose presence illuminates. But it is not the light that comforts, it is the light it reveals, the one that enters the darkest corners of the soul and widens what many have spent their lives hiding. The earthly angel, with its pure essence, need not say anything for truths to begin to emerge. His presence is like a mirror that no one wants to look, because he reflects everything, hidden intentions, fears disguised as arrogance, lies even to himself. This is why most feel threatened, because in the face of this presence there is nowhere to hide. Masks fall, characters fall apart, games lose meaning, And all this happens without an aggressive gesture, without a single harsh word. It is the vibration of the soul that acts, silent but relentless. The angel does not expose vanity, does not reveal for revenge. He just is. And in this being, in the simple, exist in full and true way, it forces others to see themselves as they are. It is this internal confrontation that many avoid, but becomes inevitable when they are before someone like that. It is a light that heals for those who are willing to change, but it is a blade for those who insist on living in lies. Because the more someone tries to hide, the more this presence becomes unbearable. Not for cruelty, but for intensity. There is no respite for those who live on manipulation. Being close to such a clean soul reveals impurities with a disconcerting clarity. And those who live in control realize that against living truth, there is no strategy that works. They are naked in the face of something that cannot be deceived. While the world is consumed in noise, in empty conflicts, in battles for power and validation, there is a rare type of strength that makes no noise, the unbreakable calm. This peace that is not just the absence of war, but presence of purpose. The angel of the earth does not despair with provocations, does not destabilize with subtle attacks, because he has already found a balance of equilibrium that does not depend on the outside world. And this stability is, for those who live from chaos, the greatest dangers. The provocates want reaction. They test, press, distort facts. They are used to seeing people lose control, to drown in emotion. But when they try this with those who own a true peace, they come across something they did not expect. A serene wall, a firmness that does not scream, but does not give in either. The answer does not come with anger, but with silence. It does not come with a fight, but with removal. And this absence of reaction goes crazy, because it symbolizes the end of the game they know how to play. The calm of those who do not shake reveals a force that cannot be broken, because it is built from internal truths, not circumstances. And when peace is true, it becomes an invisible armor. No criticism penetrates, no manipulation finds a breach. And that's why so many fear this tranquility, because it means emotional freedom. Who is real calm cannot be controlled. And those who cannot be controlled becomes the greatest obstacle to those who live on emotional domination. No need to make noise to be noticed. There are people who enter an environment and silently take over it, not because they want, but because their energy is intense, authentic, and impossible to ignore. The angel of the earth carries this kind of presence. It doesn't seek attention. You don't need an audience. It just exists. And this is enough to change the vibration of everything around. Those who were comfortable in their handling zone feels tension. Those who were hiding behind masks begins to get uneasy. Something changes. Something bothers you. And the most disconcerting is that there is no logical explanation. The presence of someone so aligned with oneself is a living reminder of what is missing in others. It is a mirror of authenticity. It is a silent call to the truth. And that, for those who live on lies, is an invisible but overwhelming threat. Those who normally control the environment with forced charisma or authority built on the basis of fear are overshadowed by a force that does not need effort. And then the discomfort begins, because they cannot understand, much less control, which is not shaped to common standards. The impact is deep even without words. The angel's energy speaks louder than any speech. She disarms, confuses, breaks emotional routines. And those who were used to mastering feel, perhaps for the first time, that they are no longer the center. Because in the face of such a firm, so clean, so convinced presence, all that is false begins to crumble. And there is no defense for that. Because there is no argument against the silent truth of those who only live with purpose and integrity. Nothing scares the controllers more than someone who doesn't depend on them. This emotional freedom, this independence of those who love without arresting, helps without expecting something in return, and is always ready to go their way without looking back. It is something, that disruption that lives from power over others. The earthly angel does not cling for lack. It connects by choice. And when he realizes that a connection has become prison, he lets out the ties with serenity, but firmly. This is intolerable for those who live in dominance. Those who are used to keeping people around through the guilt, obligation, or fear of loneliness find that with a free being none of this works. There is no blackmail that works. There is no threat to take effect, because the angel understands that everything is passing. He values, loves, cares, but never holds to something that hurts his soul. And when he decides to leave, he does it in silence, with dignity, and with the certainty that his way does not depend on anyone who does not know how to respect him. This autonomy scares, because it is not common. Most are attached to titles, status, emotional ties that no longer make sense. But a free soul chooses what it wants, and this choice will always be aligned with its mission, not with other expectations. Who tried to control, now find themselves powerless. And this impotence is the greatest terror for those who have always believed to have power, because now they realize they never had. What existed was tolerance, and she is over. There is a mistaken idea that loving deeply means accepting everything, that the more you love, the more you nullify yourself. But the love of an earthly angel follows another logic. He loves with all his heart, but never without conscience. He feels deeply, yes, but it also knows the value of your feelings. And so your love comes with patterns. No rigid or cold standards, but standards of respect, reciprocity, and integrity. He offers the best of himself, but only those who demonstrate this gift deserved. For those who are used to relationships where love is synonymous with submission, this posture is a shock, because the angel does not insist where there is no return. It does not beg. It does not force. He shows the path of true love, but does not carry anyone. And when he realizes that his love is being misunderstood as weakness, he retreats, not for lack of love, but for excessive love. This confuses, disarms, and even enraging those who thought they would have eternal access to their energy. This love with conscience is revolutionary. He proves that it is possible to love without getting lost, that it is possible to take care without being used, and that it is possible to be available without being explored. It is a love that raises, transforms, but also requires maturity. Who is not prepared for this will be removed, not for revenge, but out of mutual respect. And in the end, this kind of love becomes the frightening for those who only know relationships based on dependence, because it shows that true love also knows how to leave. Saying no seems simple, but for many it is an insurmountable barrier. After all, we live in a society that rewards those who give in, who pleases, who adapts even against their own principles. But the angel of the earth does not play this game. It can be compassionate, patient, generous, but it is also non-negotiable when it comes to your values. And that's where your greatest courage is, to know the right time to deny, not angry, not with contempt, but with the serenity of who knows that protecting one's peace is an act of love. This negative, when it comes from someone so pure, has a huge weight, because it is unexpected. Many get used to abusing goodness, exploring empathy, certain that it is infinite. But when they come across the enough of a fair heart, it is like hitting an invisible wall that gives no screams, nor tears or promises. The angel says no without guilt, because he understands that each preserved limit is a statement of his dignity. It's not cold, it's emotional wisdom. This posture deconstructs whole dynamics. Those who were used to using emotional bonds as chains find that these chains only worked because they were tolerated. Now that they are no longer, everything collapses. The angel's no not only ends a situation, he redefines the game. It shows that loving is also choosing with whom, when, and as far as. And this freedom scares those who always thought that love was submission. Imagine someone who doesn't fear the loss. That may be, but it doesn't have to. Who loves but does not arrest. That participates but does not depend. This is the angel of the earth. He lives with the certainty that everything that is true remains, and everything that tries to force place where it does not fit needs to leave. This detachment does not come with coldness, but from a deep connection with what really matters. And when he decides that something has no more space in his walk, there is no resistance. He loose, lightly, with peace, and follow. It is this absence of need that shake the controllers the most, because they live on attachment, possession, the emotional blackmail. They use the fear of being alone as a weapon, trying to keep others prisoners for emotional obligations. But the angel doesn't work like that. He knows how to leave, and when part, whole, no pending, no resentment, no look back. This completely breaks control of those who thought it could keep you stuck in guilt or fear. True emotional freedom is not about getting away from people. It is about never being chained to anyone. And whoever watches this is faced with a frightening paradox. The freer one is, the more power he has. Because those who do not fear lose, cannot be manipulated. And who cannot be manipulated, becomes indomitable. It is this level of detachment, peace with the flow of life, which turns the angel into an impossible presence to control. Many confuse strength with aggressiveness. They think fighting for what is right requires screaming louder, hitting stronger, imposing vehemently. But the true strength, the most transformative, is silent. The angel of the earth is a guardian. He observes, realizes, understands, and when it comes to justice, he acts. But its action does not come from fury, it comes from love. A love so intense that it cannot be silent in the face of error. He gets up not to exalt himself, but to protect what is sacred, the truth. This defense of what is fair comes with a firmness that surprises, because there is no hesitation, there is no insecurity. The angel knows what is right, and even in the face of pressure, does not bow. It doesn't have to be the center of attention to impact. His simple position in the face of injustice is already a revolutionary act. He doesn't have to overthrow anyone. Just keeping standing up already destabilizing the whole structure of those who live on the lie. Because its integrity is the greatest attack that falsehood can receive. Being a guardian is more than fighting for you. It is remaining faithful to their own principles, even when no one is looking. And that scares. Because those who are able to support the truth in silence is unbeatable. Those who try to corrupt, distort, or manipulate realize that they are not dealing with someone ordinary. They are facing a rock that does not need to threaten to be feared, because its mere existence is already a limit that cannot be crossed. To forgive is not to forget, and to love is not to allow everything. The angel of the earth forgives, yes. He does not carry a grudge, does not feed on the hurt, but he is not naive. Each forgiveness is accompanied by a lesson. He releases the pain, but keeps wisdom. And who thinks this forgiveness is an open door to repeat the same mistakes, makes a fatal mistake. Because this angel forgives with compassion, but walks with discernment. And the second chance, when it exists, comes with real requirement. Those who abused goodness, who have confused empathy with submission, discover that forgiveness is no guarantee of permanence. The angel can apologize to you, and yet move away. You can wish the good, and yet goodbye. Because your forgiveness is not an escape of pain. It is a conscious choice of not becoming the same as what hurt it. He lets out the weight, but keeps consciousness. It ends the cycle, but takes with it the clarity of those who will not allow everything to be repeated. And this deeply shakes those who live on emotional manipulation, because they expect forgiveness to mean forgetting. May the door be open. But they come across a new reality. The angel's forgiveness is a closure, an endpoint in toxic cycles. It is the clear sign that he can love, and at the same time protect himself. This rare and powerful combination destroys every attempt to control, because it shows that the greatest form of love is respect for you. He was there for so long that everyone believed he would never leave. Always understanding, always present, always willing to understand. But what no one realized is that as long as he remained, he watched, he felt, he silently wrote down every lack of respect, every manipulation, every small traction camouflaged in fragile justifications. Until one day, he's gone, without screaming, without drama, just left. And this match, as quiet as it is definitive, is more painful than any confrontation. What makes this output so impactful is that it is unexpected. After all, like someone so patient, so loving, could go like this? It is that the angel loves, but does not submit. He forgives, but does not let himself destroy. And when he realizes that his presence is being used and not valued, he closes the door, not angry, but lucidity. And when he leaves, he takes his peace, his light, his truth, and leaves behind only the void of those who thought he would never have the courage to go. The most terrifying for those who lost him is knowing that he will not return. Because your absence is not a game. It is a final decision. He has seen everything he needed to see. It has already given all the chances possible. And now, you have chosen yourself. And this choice, so simple and so powerful, is the greatest reminder that one does not play with the soul of someone who loves with truth, because one day he can get up and just not being there anymore.